Yo everyone, welcome to the channel. This is my first ever YouTube vid, so cut me a little bit slack here, yeah. But anyway, let me get straight to it. Yeah, in this video, I'm going to be showing you my full 151 master set with EVERY Masterball and SAR and PSA 10. Crazy, right? If you couldn't tell already, this is the voiceover, so I'm going to let the video just, for the cards just run in the background. It kind of saves me faffing around with the case and taking all the cards out while I'm talking, because I don't know about you, but I am awful at multitasking. Before I talk about how I completed the set, I thought I'd just give a bit of an intro about myself and how I got into Pokemon, specifically the TCG. So the first question is, who am I, right? If you couldn't tell from the little picture in the right corner or from my YouTube app, I go by the name of Lens. Well, it's actually Aaron, but anyone who knows me calls me Lens. My IG is Lens. It's got two N's. I'm a bit salty that someone took the name Lens with one N and they're kind of even active, but hey ho, that's how life goes, isn't it? So I've been into Pokemon as long as I can remember. Like, the first game I played was Pokemon Yellow, and if that doesn't already show my age, I'm 28 years old. So I grew up playing almost all the games that came out, from the Game Boy Color right through to the Switch today. I've watched the shows, as a kid I went to the movies, all of that. Surprisingly though, as a kid, I was actually never super into the TCG. Like, I was bought the odd few packs here and there. I vaguely remember trading some Delta Species cards on the playground, but God knows where they are now. But to be honest, when it came to cards, I was more into like Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Masters. Like, shout out the real ones, by the way, who know and remember Duel Masters. That game, the artwork, yeah, epic. But I was even thinking to try finding some cards on eBay recently, because I just had like a random bit of nostalgia for that. So if we fast forward to COVID, the whole Logan Paul hype where it just came back and kind of, gave a new breath of fresh air to the hobby. That's when I really started getting into the TCG side of things. Like I said, I always knew about it, but it was more like I just knew. I never really was into it. So I guess rightly or wrongly, the first thing that kind of drew me back in was, the prices I was seeing. Like, I like to think I'm a bit of an opportunist, but don't worry, this isn't like an investment bros channel. Anyway, like during the hype, the value for some things was just going crazy, and they just seemed to keep going like up and up, and they just weren't stopping. Like, for me, I was like a fly on the wall, just watching and learning. I don't really like to buy into green candles. The market was going up and I didn't know too much, so I thought, let me just watch and learn and watch and learn. And to be honest, I thought my interest for the TCG would fade once, lockdown was over, the kind of COVID pandemic was done, we were let back out. But, I found I just kept watching vids and absorbing content. I ended up joining Vivian's Discord. So for those who don't know, Viv's one of the, biggest UK Pokemon content creators. Like, shout out Viv, like, I've known him since the sneaker days, like 10 years ago, but I saw he was doing Pokemon, and if editing works, I'll put a little picture of his YouTube name in this vid. But yeah, no, shout out to him, man, because when I joined his Discord, I met like a whole bunch of cool people in the hobby who I speak to regularly when I go to like shows and stuff now. It's just an awesome environment. I learned a lot being in there, because those guys have been in the game, far longer than I have. So yeah, after being in there a while, felt a lot more confident. And fast forward again now to June 2023, I think it was. And yeah, the release of Pokemon 151. It's one of those sets that as soon as I saw the set list, I kind of knew I had to complete that set. Like, the nostalgia it brought back, it was just mad. Like, I grew up on the original 151 Pokemon, so for me it was a no-brainer. And nostalgia wasn't the only thing 151 had. It had a mechanic that, in my brief time in the hobby, I hadn't seen done with a Pokemon, set, as far as I'm aware. A one per box chase known as the Master Ball cards that, you're seeing on screen now. So, when I started learning about the hobby, I soon realized that with, a lot of modern master sets that you see people doing, for the most part, in the long term, rarity and exclusivity isn't something you're really going to get. As I just find that everyone now, as soon as they're pulling their big hits, their cards for their master sets, they're, sleeving and bindering all their hit cards. And, that's great. And, it's sick to see that. But, although I'm the type of person who collects, what I like, I also like obtaining things that, aren't easy to do. Like, I'm a diehard sneakerhead, and it probably comes from, that side of things, like my time spent in that hobby. Um, but there are over 150 of these masterable cards, and like I said, with one per box, completing them was never going to be an easy task. But I just fancy the challenge, and it's something that I want to look back on in 5-10 years and be like, yeah, I actually managed to do it. And hopefully the value add from the set as well, kind of justifies it as well. Because boy, it weren't cheap to do either. But I'll get into that. So a friend of mine, had the same kind of goal in mind as me. He wanted to complete the full set, and specifically, the masterable cards as well. So, the week the set came out, we actually ended up ordering like a bunch of masterballs in bulk from a Japanese seller for like, well, compared to today's prices, an absolute steal. Like, I'm talking like Pikachu Masterball I got for, I think it was like £120, Gengar for 60, and most of the other Masterballs, I was getting for £10 or less. So, I reckon in the first couple weeks of my list, I pretty wiped out about, I'd say like 80% of the Masterballs just then and there, which, at the time I didn't think anything of it. But once people started clocking on to like, oh, it's one per box. Oh, they're actually quite rare. And the price is just, they just shot up. Like Pikachu, I think, went up to like, I don't know, 350, 400 before it retraced a little bit. So, when I saw that, I was like, damn, thank you to myself for, taking the initiative and ordering those early. So after that first, like, 80%, I kind of, took it a bit easier for the remaining part of the set. And I reckon, I think it was by August, the end of August, I'd actually completed like, all the Masterballs raw, and most of the SARs. Just had to get like, I think the last few were like Giovanni, Alakazam. So just kind of picked those up, as and when. Also, the normal reverse Pokeball cards, was picking those up, the non-holos, regular holos, but they were far easier and cheaper to obtain. At this point, my cost was just over £3,000. Then I started the whole grading process, and big shout out to Karam and Trust Grading. Quite a few people have asked, why didn't you do it sequentially, like when you graded them? I mean, a lot are sequential, but not the whole set. Essentially, I wanted to grade, the higher value Masterballs first, so like Pikachu, Gengar, Erica, and the higher value SARs. So like again, Erica, Mew, just in case, the off chance they didn't come back a 10. Like, I screened pretty much all the cards before I sent them. I had to replace a few, when I inspected them because I had a bit of whitening, so I just sell them and then buy a new one. But yeah, I just wanted to get those big cards kind of ticked off, and back just in case, they went up again and then, it's more expensive to buy back in. So, sent those big ones off. Thankfully, they came back as PSA 10s. And then, I just submitted the other ones in batches of like, 40, I think that was the biggest one, 45. And yeah, a lot of them came back PSA 10. Like there was a few nines. I reckon I got about 25, 39s out of the whole, set of cards I graded, which I thought, damn, that's pretty good. And even with those, I resubbed a lot of them. And of those resubs, I'd say about 90% came back PSA 10 on a second inspection. So yeah, the last few, which was like, I think Ponyta was the last one I needed. I just ended up buying that. I just couldn't be asked to, wait for it to come back. And yeah, that's kind of how I got all the cards graded. And I don't know, I don't know what to collect now that it's done, but I'm just relieved. Like, it was a fun journey. That's basically what I'm trying to say. And yeah, hopefully, well, not hopefully, but I don't think you'll see too many of these. In terms of, what's next for the channel, I'm not going to be like, a super regular poster, but I do go to a lot of events. Like, I went to Lagala, Germany, back in January of this year to meet Mishihiro Arita and get a card signed. Um, oh, I've actually got to the end of end of the voiceover, so I might put a little clip in of the Zard. But yeah, I got that signed. Went to London card show, that was last weekend. Went to the Gala Paris actually the week before. That was okay. Yeah, I never filmed any content at any of those, but I might start doing it at future events. Or just if I find something cool, pick up something cool, or just maybe just do it then. But no, thank you for listening to me ramble for the best part of 10, 11 minutes. And yeah, until the next one, guys. See ya.